Hello.
Hi, Taylor. How are you?
Good. Is this Lisa?
It is.
How are you, Lisa?
I'm great.
Can you see me?
I can see you, but you can't see me.
You're not going to let me see you, are you? Oh, there you are.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good day to not have a dog, huh?
I have a dog. Three
You
of
have to
them.
walk it. You have to walk it in this weather.
No, they're little. We could just kind of let them out and do their thing.
We have one of the agents on my team. She has a dog, and we have an 8:30 morning huddle. I was like, "Oh boy, Tori, I'm not excited about you this morning having to go out and let that dog out today."
Right.
How's Ignite been
Wasn't
for you
that
so far?
I let mine out at 6:30 this morning, and it wasn't snowing yet. It wasn't, well, raining yet, because that's rain to snow, but
Yeah.
it wasn't too bad then.
How's Ignite been for you so far?
Been great. Lots of good
Yeah.
information, lots of great takeaways. I enjoy the camaraderie with the other agents.
Awesome. Who's been your favorite presenter so far?
I don't have one really, but they've all been equally impressive.
Yeah. Are you doing productivity coaching with Josh?
Yeah,
He's great, isn't he?
he is. He's just a good person.
I met Josh, gosh, it had to be 2 or 3 years ago when he first got licensed. And he was taking Bold, which is a class that's offered through Keller Williams. And I was his Bold, like we have table leaders. There's probably about 8 to 10 people that sit at a table together. And I was his table leader. And I just knew that kid, he's on it. I would just, he's good at what he does. That's for sure.
He is, and he's just really genuine.
I agree. I agree 100%. So you're newly licensed.
Yes, I got my license in November.
How's it going so far?
Good. Just trying to
What
get
made,
all of my contacts in my database and setting all of that stuff up in between going to all the classes that I want to take. And yeah,
why'd you choose a career in real estate?
it's really something that I've always wanted to do. My husband was in the military, and so moving around just didn't make it feasible to do the sales part of it, for obvious reasons. And so I was in the mortgage industry for 10 years,
Great.
and I worked for a real estate attorney doing closings and title work and all that happy stuff for 3 years. So I have all the other side of it. It was just putting this piece together. So it was
Good.
time. I said, I'm going to do it. And then just goes to
I
show
know
you
that young
attitude and
lady.
do what you want to do, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, that's
Hi,
great.
Deidre.
Hi, Deidre. Oh, she can't hear us yet, I don't think. Or is it me?
I hear you.
Okay, good. So what mortgage company did you work for?
Worked for North American Mortgage right after it switched from Dime. I don't know what it is now. It changed. And then I worked for a few brokers as well. So I've been on
Gotcha.
both ends of that as well, doing direct lending and then brokerage.
Awesome. Well, I think you're making a good choice. I certainly, maybe I'm a little biased, but I've never been in the mortgage industry, so I don't know. I know enough about it, I think, to know that
Yeah.
I would rather be in real estate. Deidre, can you hear me?
I can now.
All right. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, welcome back.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I'm very excited for you to be here as well. When I saw that you joined the Market Center again, it made me very happy.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm really happy and excited to be back. So yeah, it's all good.
Good. How many people are typically on in the Ignite classes?
Just depends.
Yeah, I think like 9 to 13 has been the average. When you say, Lisa?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Mary told me, because we had an ALC meeting yesterday, and Mary told me she had 4. And I was there's a piece of me that's kind of hoping we get a smaller, intimate group, because that's when I think I can really have the one-on-one or maybe the one-on-four conversations about real estate business and whatever it is. But yeah, so Deidre, tell me what you're going to be doing now.
Just focusing on growing my business.
Selling real
I
estate.
think I'm, follow the processes.
Yeah.
I've got to just let go and have faith and trust the process. And I've struggled with that. And I think now's the time. Actually, I don't have any more time. I mean, it's now or never. So, just gonna trust the process. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's I mean, my story pretty well, and you know my story well enough to know that it's never a straight highway, right? It's never like you just get on the entrance ramp and then you just keep going and then you're at your destination. It doesn't happen that way. And there's tons of lefts and rights and traffic jams and all sorts of different things to life, and everything is continuing to learn, right?
Exactly.
Do people usually stay off camera during these Ignite things? Depends.
Yeah, it depends. Lori asked everybody to be on. She wants to see everybody's faces. She didn't care what you look like.
I do too. And every time someone comes on, like Leah's on right now, and I'm going to call Leah out, even though she's muted and doesn't have her camera on, but I'll call people out. But yeah, so we got a couple minutes here, and I'll kind of try and wait for people to come on. Deidre, did you take Ignite previously?
This will be my second Ignite.
And this is the revamped version, is that correct?
This is the Spark, yeah.
So how do you like this version compared to the last one?
This one, I feel like it's more about connecting with people than it is giving people scripts.
Right.
It's about building relationships with each other, and then with your community and things like that. So I found this one really more valuable than the last one, but I may be biased because, like I said earlier, I'm really determined to let myself, just go with the process this time, where before I was kind of like,
Right.
I'm going to try to do it my way. But I think it's been a lot more valuable. It's been more about communicating. So.
Yep. No, I love that too, because I think the scripts and everything are important in real estate. Don't get me wrong, and practicing how to handle certain objections and things like that. But we're not in real estate because of scripts. We're in real estate because of people. And we're in real estate because we like to help people, and we're in real estate because we like to build connections. And so I haven't taught yet Spark, the new Ignite. But I have taught the previous one, and it was okay. I usually went off script pretty easy, or off topic, and I probably will this time around too. So we'll see. Hi, Courtney. How are you? As you're taking a sip of coffee, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Hi, how are you? I'm great.
And so I'm going to spend probably the first 5 minutes here, and people that do want to jump on camera, that would be great. I certainly understand, it's stay at home, and so maybe not everyone's in their work giddy up, so to speak. But I would prefer people to be on camera. If you don't want to, that's fine. We also want to have an interaction. I think that there's the value of Ignite is being able to have conversations with agents that have gone down the road of what a lot of you guys are going down. And so there's going to be a flow to it. It's not going to be me, instructor Taylor, teaching you guys on how to write a value proposition. My hope is that I ask you guys questions that try and figure out where your niche is, where you're good at, in order for you to establish that value proposition and communicate that to other people. So Courtney, hit unmute. So new agent?
New agent, got my license beginning of December.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you've made a fantastic decision. What led you into real estate?
So previously I was in the wine industry, and I got laid off because the company I was working for sold like 90% to restaurants and they all closed down. So they minimized their staff significantly. A few of my friends in the service industry have made that transition. And I think that my people skills from being in sales and service industry will work well as my connections that I've made. And then the hours are definitely a positive from my other options kind of were going back to restaurant management or something. And it's a little more flexible. I'm
Yeah.
getting older. I don't want to be at work until 2 a.m.
Yep.
And I just hopefully it will be a good transition. It's been so far.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're excited to have you at Capital Partners and certainly glad that you made a decision to get into real estate. Hi, Melody. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. My name's Taylor. Real quick, are you a new agent and why'd you choose real estate?
I'm new to Columbus,
Oh,
but I'm
great.
not a new agent. So I've been in the industry in one way or another for about 25 years. I was in listing and selling. I also owned a company in Princeton, New Jersey for a few years. And then I went to the corporate headquarters for several years. And now I'm in Columbus where my family lives and I'm back to listing and selling.
Great. Well, welcome.
Thank you. It's an awesome office. I've been around a lot of real estate offices and I have to say that this office is amazing. The support and the friendliness of everyone and everybody willing to help. It's just amazing.
Thank you. I don't know any different. I haven't gone anywhere else. So I'd be ignorant to say that, we have the best or the worst. However, I don't have any reason to believe that the statement you made is inaccurate. I believe in our culture. I believe in our people, and I only hope to add to that.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Erica, how are you? We met yesterday, I believe, correct?
Yes, we did. I'm doing well. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah.
So I was newly licensed in June of 2020. Just transferred to Capital Partners 2 weeks ago.
Great.
I came from new home construction. So I worked for Schumacher Homes before getting my license. And that kind of was getting my feet wet, and I really loved the relationship part of the business, but didn't love being stuck to model hours. So I made the switch from the builder to real estate. So
Outstanding. Now you can represent any builder.
exactly. And I liked that flexibility too. So,
Well, and I'll if my goal is to hopefully we can get through the content in roughly about an hour. And then I'm going to leave an extra half hour for us to be able to just kind of have off script dialogue. And one of the things you may have a question about is where the industry is going. And new construction is going to be a huge focus for the next at least 2 years. My guess is much longer than that. So Erica, you may be able to tap into that knowledge that you have for new construction and try and continue to build relationships with builders.
yep, that's what I plan to do. So,
Awesome. Well, welcome. And then we have Jacqueline down there. How are you, Jacqueline?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
I am with Excel Realty, and I'm new to the company.
Great.
I've been since December, but I've been selling real estate over 15 years plus.
Awesome. Well, then maybe you should be teaching this class.
No, I'm here to learn.
Okay.
I am an instructor at Columbus State. Actually, I coordinate the real estate department at Columbus State. So, but I'm here to learn everything I can. I'm trying to start all over fresh, new company, new life, so yeah, I know a lot, but some things you still don't know, right?
I'm always learning too. I think
that's why I'm here today.
Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to hit record. I think they want me to record this. They recorded the previous ones, right? Probably to make sure I'm doing my job.
Hopefully they edit
Jacqueline,
that.
you're already helping out. Thank you. So a little bit about me. I've been licensed since 2013. I started my career with Keller Williams Consultants, which is in Dublin. And we moved over to Capital Partners. Well, I moved over to Capital Partners probably about 5-6 years ago. And it was just a convenience thing for me. My family was living in Clintonville at the time, and we had our daughter, and we took her to school, daycare in Worthington. So it's just, I was sick of doing the 270 racetrack over and over and over again. So I've been at Capital Partners for close to 5 years. I've been on the ALC for 3 years. We run a small team with 2 other licensed agents, Victoria and Cole. And then we have a full-time administrative assistant named Lisa, who handles all of our contract to close business. And we also have a part-time assistant named Jackie, and she does our social media and marketing. And we did, I think last year, we did almost 18 million in sales volume, close to 50 transactions. And so we have big things, which was a 20% growth from 2019. And we have big things planned for this year. But teaching is one of my passions. I actually have a teaching degree, believe it or not. I never was a teacher, but I've been a coach, a volleyball coach. So I like teaching young kids. And so it's something that I'm passionate about. And I truly love helping people with what I've been able to learn, because I lean on a lot of people to give me that same type of guidance of where I want to go. And so I believe in paying it forward. And so if there's at any time, if you guys have questions and you see me in the office, which we're not there very much right now, but we will be probably pretty soon, swing by, knock on our door, ask any question that you have, and I'll be certain to set aside some time to try and either figure it out or answer for you. So with that said, do we have any questions before we get started into value proposition? Awesome. Let me see if I can get this thing going now. Go back here, share screen. I think share screen with screen 2. All right, can everyone see that? And so once again, you don't need a chat bar or anything like that. If you have a question, just fire away and I will try to answer it. And for those of you who are just jumping in, I'm going to try and get through this content in probably about an hour or so. If it takes a little longer, that's fine. I've set aside an hour and a half, and then I kind of want to open it up to you guys, and we can have any questions about, your value proposition or your real estate or my team, where do I think the industry is going, what I'm doing, what other people are doing. It's just going to kind of be an open dialogue. So yeah, we'll get it rolling here. All right. So they have a little bit of a script over here for me to kind of go off of, but maybe I'll read some of it, maybe I won't. Here we go. So the secret to being a successful real estate agent, there is no secret. Success leaves clues, so we know exactly what successful agents do every day. Every day, agents do 2 types of activities. They grow their business and run their business. On each slide, you'll see that there is grow business and run business, right? And so grow business, how you grow your business, you lead generate, you make listing presentations, buyer presentations, and you preview real estate. Open houses is a great way to preview real estate. There's open houses right now with kind of stay at home and pandemic. We've been finding a lot of success in having real estate or open houses on Fridays, like Fridays in the evening, right? Because everyone's at home right now. They're not necessarily working as they used to be. So we'll typically have 2 open houses on our team every single weekend on a Friday and a Sunday. And the Sunday is to kind of give people the last chance to get in. So if you're a new agent, you're not working with quite as many buyers right now, and you're not getting into as many houses, open houses might be a great opportunity for you to get in and preview some real estate, because I do think that it's really important. Oh, you see that little thing on there, sorry. There we go. Another great resource, guys, is inspectors. Talk to someone in the office, and if they're having an inspection done on a property, get permission from them to be able to shadow an inspector, because they're going to be able to tell you the ins and outs of a property. Hopefully it's an inspector that likes to engage with people. Some of them don't, but get in there. They're going to be able to talk about a foundation. They're going to be talking about mechanicals and that sort of thing, which is all great talking points when you're want to look like the expert in front of your buyers. How to run a business. market seller listings, show buyer houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management to closing, vendor management, set goals, compliance, risk management, attend training and get coaching, and manage money. I think these are all important pieces to real estate, obviously. The agenda today, obviously, we are going to, this is our roadmap. First, we're going to define what a value proposition is. Next, we'll explore 3 essential aspects of the service we provide. Then we'll dig into your unique qualities of value, and finally craft your powerful value proposition. Well, they ask you to share your value proposition. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to leave this meeting today with tools to create your value proposition. I don't think a value proposition is something that we should be coming up with in an hour or 2 hours or on the fly. I think it's something you need to think about and really dive into. Number one, why you're doing real estate and what you're good at. And then maybe bullet point those and then come up with maybe 2 or 3 very valuable pieces and then put them together. So let's see here. Yep, we'll keep rolling. So your value. Craft a simple and precise description of the benefit for the client, and then convey what you will do to earn the fee you charge, and then convenient. Make your value proposition convenient between you and the client. A value proposition is a simple and precise description of the benefits the customer will get from working with you. Should clearly convey all the things you do to earn the fee you charge. Your value proposition is a convenient covenant between you and the customer. Sorry, language is not one of my strong suits. So I'm going to open this up to you guys. How will having prepared your value proposition help you close more deals? I guess, what do you feel like is the value of a value proposition? Does anyone want to kind of chime in here?
I think it prepares you for any kind of I just went blank. It prepares you for any kind of rebuttal from the client. Like, why should we choose you? What makes you different? So it's basically like, it's not really a script practice, but it's a preparation for any kind of negative feedback or anything from the client. You're telling them what you're going to do for them right up front. And then if they question it, you can always kind of lead them back to what your value proposition was.
Right.
To handle. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
I think it
I
sets
think there's, oh, go
expectation.
ahead, Lisa.
Oh, sorry. It sets the expectation up front, in what ways they can count on you, and expect from you.
Yep. Melody, what do you want to chime in with?
I was just going to say there's probably a period of time that they might be looking for an agent, or that you have not met them, so they haven't had an opportunity to meet with you and build a relationship. So whether it's on your website or mailings that you do or whatever, they might relate to something that you say about why you're in real estate and who you are to work with that might help them reach out to you.
Great. Yeah, I agree. I think it does a couple things. Also, like it becomes part of your brand, right? And I think that that's very important. You know, a brand is very important because when people see something, you want them to immediately think of you. And then also what I think it does is it separates you from the competition, right? I mean, there's close to 9,000 real estate agents in Central Ohio. And guess what? Everyone takes, 120 hours of classwork or 160 hours of classwork, pays the same dues. And the next thing you know, you get the exact same license to go out and practice real estate. So the people that have a defined value proposition, the people that operate at a high level, those are the ones that are going to separate themselves from the people who are just kind of putting their toe in the water in real estate versus the people who are treating it as a profession and as a business. Let's keep rolling. Okay. So 3 aspects of service. The 3 aspects of service. When Gary Keller was researching for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, he noticed that every top producing agent he spoke to had a deep and almost inherent sense of service. You cannot grow real estate business if you don't prioritize your client's experience above all else. A stellar experience is how you earn your commission and get great referrals. We've identified 3 aspects of service: knowing the underlying purpose of real estate, a compelling value proposition, and fiduciary. Together, these aspects guarantee that your clients will have the best possible real estate experience. So, people in real estate will choose you before they're going to be able to understand the service. You have to communicate the service on the front end. Then they choose you to do real estate or provide real estate services. Then they have an experience after they choose you. So I always tell people, like, a lot of my friends and family think I sell houses. And I think that that's the furthest thing from the truth. I sell myself before I sell houses. If you don't know how to sell yourself, then you don't have the ability to take someone through the journey of providing the service. So the sales aspect of real estate is the introduction, the trust. People do business with people they like, know, and they trust. So after they choose to do business with you, that's when you provide the service. And so that's where I think the value proposition has to be executed. You communicate what the value proposition is, then the consumer makes a decision on if they want to do business with you, then it's time to execute the value proposition. What is the underlying purpose of real estate? For buyers, it's about finding them the right home at the best price in the right time with the least amount of problems. For sellers, it's about netting them the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. What happens to your clients' buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate? That's I guess, let me ask that question again to the group. What happens to your clients' buying and selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate?
Probably their needs are not going to be met, and it could put them in a very bad position.
Great, love it. I think you're exactly right. So, I mean, if you're not delivering on the service that you promised through your value proposition, are you going to get referrals? Probably not. You probably won't get repeat customers. And I'm sure you've been taught through Ignite and here, like, your database and your SOI is essentially how much money you're going to make. How big your circle is essentially how much money you're going to make, and then who's sharing your information with other people. It's significant that one phrase is shared with buyers and sellers: with the least amount of problems. As a realtor, what are some problems that you've anticipated for your clients, and what have you done to avoid them? So in other words, have you been working with someone, or maybe I can give an example of when you're working with someone, you can almost already anticipate a problem that's coming, and how do you handle that problem before it even arises? I mean, I guess I can give a specific example, and it actually happened last night. I have a relocation client, and they're moving from Iowa to Columbus, and we went and we offered on a property. It was accepted, and we had to make an as-is purchase because that's kind of what you have to do in this marketplace right now. And they had concerns about the basement, and so they can't make repairs, but they do get to make a choice on if they want to move forward with the transaction or not based on the inspection contingency. So they had concerns about the basement. I've been in enough basements to know that this wasn't necessarily a concern. So the fix was essentially trying to get a basement contractor out there at a quick time within the inspection period to alleviate their concerns, to which we did do. And my hope is that now, after doing that, and my evaluation of the basement was consistent with the basement professional, that's going to transfer into other areas of home inspection or trust, right? And it's a big, long journey that you have to go through in order to earn that trust of the client. Does anyone else have an example they want to share?
I was just going to say, I think that it's sort of the same policy with objections, which is, something they're concerned about. If you can talk about the things that might go wrong before they even enter into a house and talk about how it would be managed, I think it really helps if one of those things pop up, which often do, whether it's the appraisal or something with the inspection, then I think they trust you because you had already talked about that might be a problem. And now they're seeing that that's the case. It's easier to get through it together versus it being a back and forth situation.
Right. That's a great point. When we have a listing, here's another good example is when we have a listing, we understand that there's probably going to be multiple offers on the property. So one thing we've been talking to our sellers about is a pre-listing inspection and making that and disclosing the inspection to the potential buyers. So now they understand the condition of the property and they can make a determination on price, conditions, terms based on the inspection, because that's one less contingency now that may have to be met if they decide to offer an as-is purchase contract or even potentially waiving the inspection contingency altogether, which makes it an easier process for the sellers. So those are just a couple examples of some of the things that we're doing on our end. Speaking of value proposition, let's define what it is exactly. Your value proposition distills your service offerings into a succinct set of benefits for your client. It states when you do for your client, it states what you do for the client to earn your commission and helps to explain the complexity of what you do. It also helps hold you accountable to high standards. As we reflect on that definition, what do you see as the value of your value proposition? Why is it important enough to be included in these aspects of service? I think we kind of talked on that a little bit, right? What is the true value proposition? Maybe being, it separates you from competition. I think it helps build brand awareness. And I think it also goes into a promise on what you're going to deliver through your own unique personality. I think Lisa and Deidre are going to have different value propositions based on their personality and what service they want to offer to their clients. And the thing is like a value proposition might resonate with one client before it resonates with another client. And so I think that that's important. It's just making sure that it hits home to what you're good at. Functionary versus fiduciary. The third and final aspect of service is fiduciary. What is a fiduciary and how is it different from functionary? Anyone want to chime in? Jacqueline, I think you'd be good at answering this question. Columbus State. Oh, I think you're muted. Oh, maybe she doesn't want to chime in.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, that's okay. Yeah, I guess what I would like to know is what's the difference between functionary and fiduciary?
Functionary is that you have a customer and a client. I guess is the way I'm going to look at it differently, right? So fiduciary, I have an agreement with a client, and I'm going to do everything for their interest. Function means I'm just going to go through the motions, basically, and making sure that the customer, I'm being honest with them. I am going to show them the houses. I'm going to, any defects in the properties, but it's functionary. But fiduciary, I'm going to be more personalized. I want to keep their secrets or have confidence and accountability, those kind of things.
Awesome. Great answer.
You put me on the spot.
We got to make sure that's what we do, right? There's gonna be clients that put you on the spot too.
Yeah. But people want it kind of mixes together though. Some of it, some of it, you have to be functionary too, even with being a fiduciary. You have to have their confidence. You got to be honest. You got to show any defects in the property. So you still have to be functionary with your fiduciary responsibilities too.
I love that answer. Thank you for sharing.
You
Now I know to call on you more often. Sorry, one of the things I love that answer, and I think it's 100, there's no wrong answer. That's accurate, right? The thing that I can differentiate between the two of them, functionary, you're putting your own interests above the client. Fiduciary, you're putting the client's interest above yours. I feel like when you're a functionary, you're working for a paycheck. And I think when you're a fiduciary, you're working for a client and the byproduct is the paycheck. And I'll say that you'll be able to get a lot more paychecks if you're putting the client above the paycheck. So know your state, or know and state your value. So now we're going to talk about the value proposition, and we're going to look at some data around what clients want, and we're going to get a big picture look at our current real estate market, and we'll discuss some ways that technology can boost your value proposition. Before we do that, I want you to look at page 5 in your participant guide. There's space to write about your strengths, your perspectives. Take a few minutes, write down your responses, and this will be getting to craft your unique value proposition. I'm going to ask you guys to do that. You have page 5, right? And there's a way you can start to draft your value proposition. You guys comfortable doing that as homework? Cool. All right, I'm going to minimize my little bar over here so I can see this slide. What buyers want. This is, here's a look at what buyers want from a realtor. The graph covers the top 3 responses and categorizes everything else as other. You can see the complete list in your student handout, participant guide, page 6. Why are we talking about what buyers want in a conversation about value proposition?
Well, I would say because that better be in your value proposition, as long as it aligns with what you do and what you do best, because that's what's going to help them feel like you're the right agent.
Right. I love it. And you can see 52% is help find the right home to purchase, right? They want guidance. They want maybe resources. They want the ability for them to figure out what they want. And the other 2 are help buyer negotiate the terms of sale and help with price negotiations. When asked the most important factor in choosing a real estate agent, these were the top 5 answers from buyers. You have the complete list in your student handout. Any ahas, any takeaways from this list?
You better guard your reputation closely.
Yes, absolutely. What jumps out to me at this number is, if you see, now you can see my little screen. See that number? You see my mouse? 15%. Agent is a friend or family member.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? That number is going to be growing a lot. I have a feeling that one of the trends in real estate is we're not only going to be in competition with other real estate agents, but we're going to be in competition with family members of our clients. And I'll give you an example. I just had a meeting this week with one of my client's brothers who's thinking about getting into real estate. So if my client's brother gets into real estate, am I going to lose my client because he's now going to be doing real estate with his brother? I don't know. And that's why the value proposition is even more valuable than what it is just by putting it on a piece of paper and putting it on a website, right? We need to be, people are going to be getting into real estate because right now the service industry is getting hammered hard with COVID and stay at home. And so people are going to be looking for other means of income or a profession. And one of the paths of least resistance is getting your real estate license. Now, their SOI, the new agent's SOI, then starts to go into my SOI a little bit. And so staying in touch with my current SOI, hammering home on my value proposition, hopefully that trust is so loyal that my SOI stays consistent and stays protected from others. But we'll see.
Taylor, I have a comment to that. I teach at Columbus State, so we're so overwhelmed with people influx because of COVID to switch over to getting their real estate license. But the first thing we always tell them is to get their sphere of influences, who is their family members and friends, right? So if they're gonna look for their friends and family, they're gonna take business from us. So I agree with you. We're gonna have to really push it out there that they trust us more than they gonna trust their family member. So you really have to push that.
Love that. Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate that. How many people are in class right now, do you think? I mean, if you had to guess, and they're pretty much all online at this point, is that correct?
Yes.
And how many people do you think are attending your classes right now?
Me personally have 5 classes, and I would think that each class, I have over 100 students. So if you're talking about 3-4 times that, it's at least 400 or 500 students getting their real estate license at Columbus State.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
When I went through Hondros in 2013. Actually, it would have been 2012 because I got licensed in 2013, and there was maybe 40 in my class, 30 or 40. And it's just convenient now to do it online, right? Anyone can. I mean, you can do it on the weekend. You can hammer it out and get right through it. But I think this number right here is going to be growing significantly, if it hasn't already, because this is data from 2018.
So we definitely, have to push our value on people. Not push it, but push it, the value on people. So,
Sure.
That your value. But I was going to say, you also got to know your value. I mean, you can say words, right? But you got to really know who your value is.
Yep.
To help your customer.
I love it. Thank you. Anyone else have any ahas about this? We'll jump to the next one because we can do ahas with this one too. What sellers want. We looked at what buyers want. Now there's what sellers want most from a realtor. This graph covers the top 5 responses and categorizes everything else as other. You can see the complete list in your student handout. What do you guys see out of this list here? And let me move over here. So you see my head going back and forth. I just want you to know there's a big screen over here and then there's my laptop. So I want to talk into the camera, but I also have the slides over here. So if I'm not losing you guys. Anything that jumps out with you guys here?
I think a consistent theme, at least between buyers and sellers that I'm seeing, is help negotiating. So
Yep.
They want a professional negotiator.
Yep, I agree. I think that 13, well, not, I guess it would be the 14%. I think that number, help with negotiating and dealing with buyers is more in this environment, this current market that we're in right now. We have 0.9 months of inventory, and that's the lowest that Central Ohio has ever seen on record. So we're getting a lot of multiple offers, and I think it can be overwhelming for sellers. And if we present the offers in a very organized and detailed fashion, we manage the expectation of the seller and we manage the expectations of the buyer's agent. I think that 14% is in this environment larger, or in our market. This is national, obviously. So having the resources to be able to present offers in an orderly fashion and negotiate those, I think is very important in this environment.
Hey, Taylor,
Yes, ma'am.
could you explain what you said 0.9 months of inventory. Could you explain what that is? I love to have that as a talking point
Sure.
when talking to people.
So 0.9 months of inventory means and we'll use 1 month of inventory as the example. What that means is with all the homes that we have on the market right now, if no new homes hit the market, it would take 1 month to essentially sell every house. So if we had 1,000 homes, and I'm going to use, so we're in January, right? So at the end of January, if there were 1,000 homes on the market, it would take all of February to essentially sell every single home on the market. And that would be 1 month of inventory. So we have less than 1 month of inventory. The rule of thumb is they say as a national average, the average, or like when we're in a neutral market, both buyer and seller market, is 3 months of inventory. So in other words, if we were selling 1,000 homes on average a month, we would have 3,000 homes as an inventory, and it would take 3 months to deplete the market. Does that help? Awesome. When asked the most important factor in choosing a real estate agent, these are the top 4 answers from buyers. You have the complete list in your student handout. Anything jump out at this list? This is for sellers, which is probably very simple to buyers, wasn't it? A couple things jump out though: reputation, honest, trustworthy, and then friend or family member, which kind of already talked about, and then other. So there's a lot of factors. Once again, if you ask me what sellers value, they're making a decision, right? And they want to know that they're getting someone who's professional, who has systems in place, and who knows how to deliver home on what they promise. Let's see. All right, so who are your competitors? Real estate has undergone significant changes in the past few years. Investors have come in with the intent to disrupt the industry, and they have. iBuyers are driving down commission prices, and some companies are moving toward eliminating the agent altogether. So who is our local competitors, and who are you competing with for clients and your commission?
I would say on commission, we're competing with companies and agents that list at a, very low amount.
Yep, I would agree with that. We see it all the time right now. I mean, I'll go in. I just showed a property 2 days ago where the agent was offering a 2% commission to buyers, and I sent him a text message. I said, "Hey, can you explain the 2% buyer commission?" And then he said, "Well, I took the listing." Oh, his exact response, and I should pull it up because it's funny because it makes me want to throw my phone across the wall. But he says something to the effect of, "Oh, the sellers offered me 3% commission, so I'm taking 1 and offering 2." And that, I get very passionate about this subject because if you do not know, this is an agent that does not know how to deliver on value. Because it's not about the commission, it's about the value, right? People will pay for what they find value in. They will not pay for things that you buy a Ford truck because you feel like the Ford truck is going to give you value, and its value is more than the sticker price. You hire a realtor at 6% because you feel like they're going to deliver more value than the 6%. And so this agent was saying to themselves, essentially, I don't believe in the product that I'm offering because I'm going to allow the sellers to dictate what the commission is. And that's not how we should be practicing real estate. Because if we're practicing real estate that way, then you need to be working for Zillow, you need to be working for Realtor.com, you need to be working for one of the iBuyers, because those are the ones who are dictating the commission. Sorry, I'll get off on my little pedestal. Does anyone want to chime in on that?
I think that the flip side to that is that they are also speaking for you if they've only decided to give you 2%.
Right.
That's not fair for them to make that decision for you.
No, and it's not. In the front, here's even the worst part about it is they already had 2 offers. And there's nothing I could do. If my clients like the home, guess what? I got to eat that 2%. And it's so frustrating in this environment. So if there's one thing you take away, protect your commission and protect your value. And if you have further questions about protecting your commission and protecting your value, come find me, because there are agents out there who truly do believe in that. And there's agents out there who that's the first thing they concede when there's a point of contention within the negotiation. And that's very frustrating. I mean, I had one of my sellers ask me, he goes, "Well, we feel fair market value for a realtor commission is 4.5%. And I know he contracts, the seller does online marketing, online digital marketing. And so he's contracted out. And so I said, Mr. Seller, can I ask you this? When you're talking to a client, do you allow the client to dictate your price? And then obviously there was quiet, right? He says, or do you present a proposal? Do you present a proposal based on the value that you think you're going to deliver to your client? And then we took the listing at 5%, not only because I was representing him on the purchase, and also he referred me to another piece of business. So I kind of look at it as offering like as a Costco approach, like a wholesale. If you're going to do something to me, then yes, I can certainly understand where my margins might fluctuate a little bit based on how much volume you're bringing into my database.
Really, in most cases, if you take the time, if you have the ability to create value, then you don't have to defend price.
Exactly right, Melody. Great point. There's a lot of times when I give them the listing agreement and it says 6% and we don't even have a conversation about it.
Right.
Because hopefully the listing presentation has already delivered on the value that you're going to deliver. And they're like 6% all day long. There's agents, I know one in Indy and I know one up in Detroit that charge 7%. And guess what? People don't bat an eye at it.
Well, part of the thing too is that it gets you on the wrong foot, or not the wrong foot, but it leaves a bad taste in your mouth to even work with that agent.
Right.
You know, if you were going to pursue it. So you're already not on good terms with the agent themselves.
You're exactly right. So you got a little page of a laptop and a phone here, and it says your technology. Here's a great thing about Keller Williams. Your company is committed to adding to your value proposition in today's market. That means investing in technology that propels your business forward. We've already talked about Command in the KW app. Now I want to focus on the tech that affects your clients. Agent Sites allows you to save searches for homes, allows agents to create searches on behalf of their clients and contacts. Individualized IDX sites create personalized landing pages for your clients that allow them to see activity in the neighborhoods and areas they care about. KW app is an end-to-end consumer app that, using the powerful of AI, machine learning, and your expertise to communicate, provide transaction transparency, and remind clients of your value well after they've closed on the home. Keep scrolling down. Activity, increase your value with technology. Participants guide, page 11. Instruction participants to visit and identify. Sorry, I'm going off. So it says for me to ask you guys to share your findings with the class. Ask what additional technology they could use to create an even better experience for your clients. So I know we got a lot of new agents. I know we have a couple seasoned real estate professionals. Is there anything outside of the Keller Williams app, which, let me back up. I'm gonna give you a little bit of backstory about my team and I and what we were doing. So before March, before the pandemic happened, we were investing in Zillow. We were getting leads from Zillow. And we were also in a CRM called Commissions Inc., which they have a landing page and they would use Google pay-per-click to get people to register for our landing page, to which we would then get the lead. March happened and we decided to cut all of that out immediately because we need to make sure we were protecting the business before we were doing all the costs that went into generating those leads. And then we took our database and we went back into Keller Williams Command. So I am a very transparent and honest individual. Keller Williams Command has some of its faults. It's still clunky, it's still learning. Now however, I think there's a place for it within everyone's business in the market center. I think it could be a great resource for the new agent who doesn't have a lot of capital to invest into technology that is robust and big and clear and defined. If I were a new agent starting out, this is what I would be using as my CRM. And I think that it's very beneficial for everyone to be in it. We are in it. We run our transactions through it. We are also into another CRM. So we use two to kind of talk to each other. So we'll go back to the question. what other technology could you use to create an even better experience for your clients? Does anyone have any ideas? One thing we use for open houses is we use an iPad. We have found that people will register for an open house when you hand them something to register on. We don't say, have a piece of paper on like a desk or something like that, or a table. Hey, would you please register over there? We have found that people, it's easy for them to skip right past it. And so we want to communicate the activity to our clients, and we owe it to our clients to be following up with everyone who attends an open house. So we have found, and this is also coronavirus, so now we ask them for information as we put it into the iPad. But before coronavirus, we would hand them an iPad and we say, hey, can you please fill out this information? It's for the safety of our clients. We need to know who's coming in and who's leaving the property. So that's a piece of technology that we use, and it's an app called Open Pro, I believe it is, where you can ask a series of questions. Are you working with a real estate agent? How did you find out about the open house? What is your name, phone number, email address, those sort of things. So that's one piece of technology that we're using in addition to KW Command in the app.
Some title companies or lenders also have apps that you can download to your phone to take to a listing presentation. We just met with a title company yesterday that had an app that we could download that does the net sheet for you. And I think most title agencies have, or at least the ones that I've talked to have that, but that's something else that's kind of techie, that you're not sitting there with a bunch of paper in front of your client. You're popping it up on your phone or your iPad or whatever, and you're scrolling through and able to show them what to expect on the net sheet if they list their home with you.
Great, love it. Yeah, so utilizing your vendors, right? I mean, any vendors, title company, lenders, that sort of thing. I think that that's incredibly important to leverage them and ask them for help through their own technology or resources. Seller net sheets, mortgage calculators. This is an activity. Create your value proposition. Remember, your value proposition is a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of working with you. Says what you're doing to earn your commission and holds you accountable to high standards. Yep, I'm going to ask you guys to do your value proposition for homework. You guys comfortable with that?
Mhm. Yes.
Great. Now that you have a unique value proposition statement, let's take a look at what delivering on that statement means. If you're going to do it, then do it. Do you recall what KW's stance is on integrity? If not, explained previously, the YI4C2TS, and that integrity is one of the KW code of ethics we all abide by. I think that goes without saying. I mean, in the introduction, I think we've all understood. I know Deidre personally, and I think she could probably attest to ethics and what the KW value and the KW family means. It means operating at a higher level than your typical broker, agent, whatever it is, right? We want to be doing what's right for the industry. We want to be doing what's right for other agents, and we want to be doing what's right for our clients. And I think that that's the important piece of it. And I think the value proposition needs to tie into that. I'll give you a little piece of our value proposition. And full disclosure, I do not have a defined value proposition. If someone asked me, and I told the team today that I was teaching Ignite on value proposition, and Tori, Deidre will probably laugh, Tori said, oh, what is our value proposition? And then I told them essentially what I believe is our value proposition. However, it's not defined and written down, but teaching this class makes me realize that that's something that we need to accomplish soon. But basically, we pride ourselves on being home wealth advisors. We're not real estate agents. There's real estate agents everywhere, right? You can go find a real estate agent in anywhere you want to go. You can go on Zillow and probably make a transaction happen. We pride ourselves on being home wealth advisors, to be able to know when our clients should be looking at refinancing, to be able to know when our clients should be taking out a home equity line of credit. Why are our buyers putting 5% down versus 20% down? When is it beneficial to put 20% down versus 5% down? These are all things that we have conversations with our clients about, because if I can show my client after being in a house for 5 years or 10 years to put 5% down versus 20% down, that's going to save you a total of $100,000 in 10 years. Would that be of interest to you? And they're going to say, well, yeah. I say, well, why would you take the balance of that 15% and put it in your home, and you can put it into some sort of investment that's going to give you an 8% return when that money's liquid? And if you're purchasing a $300,000 home, 15% of that is $60,000. So you take $60,000 and you put it into something that's going to give you an 8% return over 10 years, your home continues to appreciate, and you're making that $60,000 in interest rate, you're going to make a difference of $100,000. And so these are conversations that we're having as realtors, because we all want to be home wealth advisors. We don't want to be real estate agents. If we're real estate agents, then we're just like all the other 9,000 people here in Central Ohio. Questions? Distinguish yourself. A value proposition isn't just something you say, it's something you deliver on. Now that you're able to explain your value, how do you apply it? So here's a question I have. What kinds of knowledge are you expected to have? What kinds of knowledge would truly set you apart from the competition? So what are some aspects to what we do on a daily basis, or maybe your unique personality, that sets you apart from the competition? Anyone want to chime in? I'm just going to start unmuting people.
Because of my background, I bring that mortgage piece to the table, and I'm comfortable and know those programs inside and out, and that's definitely an edge for me.
Huge. That is huge. I agree with you 100%. We're fortunate enough to have an individual on our team that has a mortgage background as well, and I lean on him all the time when I'm talking to a client or texting a client about various programs or options out there, especially in this environment, because it's so challenging for a first-time home buyer to afford their first home. And so what programs are out there? And it's going to be changing too with the new administration coming into office. There's going to be a lot of first-time home buyer incentives. So if you aren't aware of those, I would certainly go on to Joe Biden's website and see the things that he's going to try to pass through Congress that are going to help the first-time home buyer. That's a great point, Lisa. Thank you. Does anyone else have an aspect? I mean, I know, Jacqueline, you teach at Columbus State, right? That's got to be a huge resource to you.
It is. When I am out talking to buyers or sellers, I do use say I'm an educator, and that I have wealth of knowledge of real estate, not just sell real estate, but I have a deep knowledge of what real estate and what it takes to buy and sell. So I do kind of use my education or my teaching or my instructor. I do tell people that, and that really is, people are amazed. And that's how my leads turn into so much into clients because of that. I say I'm an educator. It really is very helpful.
What says expert like teacher, right?
Right. Yeah.
When I was first starting out, you have to figure out because we don't have the experience, right? And we saw in those previous pie charts that experience was one of the pieces that people look for. And so when I was first starting out in real estate, I didn't have the experience piece of it. So I had to make up in other areas. And I kind of mentioned to some of the folks that were on the Zoom call early, I have a professional sales background. I was with Worthington Industries for 10 years before I got into real estate. So that was the leverage that I used to define myself as the professional. I said, I've gone through training to be able to negotiate contracts with some of the biggest companies in the world, such as Ford, GM, Chrysler, John Deere. And they've taught me negotiation tactics to be able to negotiate for the value of your home. You know, so I would say tap into your background. You know, what are you good at? What are you, you know, whatever that is, I'm sure there's something we can all kind of put on a value proposition to define who we are and the value that we're going to deliver on our clients.
Taylor, I'm going to have to leave off. I jump off. I have another call at Columbus State, so I'm going to have to tell everybody goodbye. But it's been really good class, and I am going to do my homework. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Okay, so create a stellar experience. The 3 aspects of service: knowing the purpose of real estate, your value proposition, your fiduciary role, all contribute to the same goal: ensuring the best experience for your client. Now that you understand each of these aspects, it's on you to deliver on the best experience you can. What qualifies as an excellent real estate experience? Does anyone want to chime in?
I would say that the seller or the buyer were able to receive exactly what they wanted, you know, the
Right.
experience that they wanted and what was most important to them.
Yep. Yeah, you delivered on your value proposition, right? I think that that's the ultimate experience. You know, and there's times when it doesn't go as planned. And I would say being able to handle the problems that arise in a transaction is also incredibly important. Having the resources to be able to handle those problems, because as a new agent, you don't have that type of knowledge quite yet. And so leaning on people in the office or your market center or your broker to be able to help out with those types of issues that come up are really important too, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I think, you know, one thing that's also really important, I think we have an awesome broker. We have an award-winning broker that's been in the business for many years. And I think that sometimes that's important to relay to your client as well, because you have an incredible foundation to go to if something completely out of nowhere comes up in the deal.
I can't emphasize that comment enough, Melody. And I know Deidre's nodding her head because I think she has a very similar experience, but Lori is the best, in my opinion, in Central Ohio. I can't speak for the country, but I'll certainly say Central Ohio. Guys, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I text her and she responds. And when she's on vacation, guess what? You know, Jill's right there, and Joe Jackson too, if you need him. I mean, it's funny because we were at and I'll disclose this. We were at the ALC meeting yesterday, and it was the first one for 2021. And we're talking about value proposition. Like, what is the value of our market center specifically, not just Keller Williams, right? Keller Williams, you can sit there and say all day long, technology and things like that, but that doesn't separate ourselves from other Keller Williams in Central Ohio. So what separates us from the Keller Williams in Central Ohio? The number one thing that came up was Lori. And she's awesome. So make sure you got her phone number, her cell phone in your cell phone, because she is going to bail you out of a few different situations going forward. And also she's got great knowledge. Okay, ahas to achievement. Oh, excuse me, I was reading the next slide. It's over here, sorry. And now that you have your unique value proposition statement and we know what it means to deliver on your value proposition, let's recap and share ahas. I guess any ahas about your value proposition, the importance to it. Does anyone want to share some things that they might include into their value proposition as we've kind of gone through the class here and shared some things? I think I've learned personally that I need a defined value proposition. You know, like I mentioned, we do provide a high level of service, and I think that that's incredibly important. But I think the message needs to be consistent between our team. And I think that that's where our value proposition is going to be value, because I can go into a listing presentation or a buyer presentation and say something different than Cole or Tori, the other two agents on our team. And I think that that might be missed a little bit, or they may be able to define their own value propositions, but it also needs to be consistent for the team. And so that's an aha that I had, that we need to work on a value proposition for the organization.
I think for me, especially as a new agent, not only will I include things about myself in the value proposition, but I think it's really important to include the resources and the people that are behind me at Keller Williams, because I haven't sold a house. I haven't helped anyone buy a house yet. So I can't use my previous experience for that, but I can use examples of all the people that are here to help and answer questions and facilitate with me.
Awesome. I love it. And you're absolutely right, Courtney. I mean, I was a new agent just like you guys at one point. And I remember going through Ignite thinking to myself, I got to come up with a value proposition. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow or how I'm supposed to find a lead. How the hell am I supposed to figure out what a value proposition is, right? I would just say don't overcomplicate it. I would say maybe write down 4 or 5 things that are unique to your personality that other people gravitate towards. Maybe ask a family member or a friend, why am I a good friend to you? Can you give me a few examples? And then you can always, play on words to make it seem, that it then gets on a piece of paper and it's something that you're communicating to other people, because that's what people feel about you. I think that'd be a great place to start.
I think an aha for me is just a little slight shift in a mindset that the value proposition to me meant, all the bullet points. These are the things I'm going to do for you. But looking ahead and further in the bigger picture, it's more or less a mission statement for your brand.
Love it. Yep. And then it becomes consistent. And then you hope at one point, like, my hope is that my clients can share experiences through home wealth that, I want my clients to be able to say, Taylor showed me how I can make an additional $50,000 by not putting 20% down to their other clients, because that's part of my brand. That's part of who we are as an organization. We want to make sure that people are truly, because I firmly believe that the quickest way to financial wealth is through real estate and home ownership. And how do we maximize that for every single one of our clients? There are clients out there that don't want anything to do with me and what I think about home wealth, and that's fine. But I still have to be there and ask those questions, because it makes me a better professional to understand what my clients are going through. Great point, Lisa.
I think that I love these NAR, the NAR factors, because that's basically sort of coming from the horse's mouth, right? In terms of what people want, and it's important. And although some are not easy, like reputation, it takes you a long time to build it and it's easy to lose it. So they're not easy, but they're also not rocket science. Find me the right house. Well, that's listening to them, being honest and truthful, being trustworthy, selling in their time frame. So I think that for me, at least, really thinking about this and thinking which is, which one of these am I good at, would really help me to write my value proposition.
That's awesome. I love it. And you mentioned reputation. And in this environment with multiple offers, it's even more important to build your reputation with other agents, to be operating at a very high level ethically with other real estate agents, because I've been on the receiving end of having 15 offers on a listing. The one thing that I'm looking for is, who are the agents I know that are going to get this transaction to the closing table?
Yeah.
And I would much rather work with one of them than work with someone who I don't know, who may be with, for example, like a brokerage that doesn't offer the level of training that Keller Williams has. When I see an agent that submits an offer and they have a Keller Williams office behind them, I know that they've gone through Ignite. I know that they care about who they are and what they're representing. So I love that, Melody, about your reputation, both with clients and agents. So overview, it says here, build daily habits. 3-hour session includes build your database, script practice, lead generation, and contract practice. That's optional. Goals to set your career on fire. 10 contracts add, 10 conversations a day, or contacts add, not contract. If you guys are writing 10 contracts a day, that's something that's pretty amazing. 10 handwritten notes and 10 home previews per week. Let's see here. Scripts. Why is it important to learn, internalize, and personalize scripts? Lead generate, uncover motivations, identify objections, close deals, speak in terms the customer understands, and build confidence. You guys go okay if I kind of go rather quickly through these ones? Role play, script practice for 30 minutes. Do not call, right? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Lead generation, update contacts and follow-ups. Real play, contract practice. Get help, command, connect. Make your success list. Complete the Ignite survey. I guess that's for me, right? I hope it's a good, hope you guys review me pretty well. So this is also a chance, you know, for the next 20 minutes or so. Do you guys have questions about my business? Maybe where I think the industry is going, you know, any challenges that I've had as an agent, a new agent, anything like that that you guys want to ask? It's pretty much all on the table.
I thought your comment about COVID and so many people leaving the service industry and coming into real estate was very insightful, because I hadn't even thought about that. So I would be interested in hearing some of your other thoughts.
Yeah, we're going to start, and thank goodness Jacqueline kind of emphasized my thoughts, because I'm having more conversations with people who are who leave a service industry, bar manager, whatever it is. They're either laid off or they're looking for a different career path. And here's the thing, like real estate is all over the headlines right now, right? I mean, we're seeing it all the time. Like, housing prices are soaring in Central Ohio, you know, the top 10 market in the country, and all these different things. So people are like, I also see, here's another funny thing, Melody, when I go to the closing table, people, it's right there in the settlement statement, right? How much a realtor, I should say the check that a realtor gets, right? And so then they assume that I'm taking $9,000 on a $300,000 home and I'm going to the casino and I'm just having fun money, right? But they don't understand the profit and loss statement. They don't understand the taxes. They don't understand everything that goes into it. So I feel when people go through that process and they see a settlement statement, they actually see a dollar amount associated to the transaction, then they start to get bigger eyes about what real estate is and the potential for growth and wealth in real estate. So I think that there's some blurred lines a little bit when people think about what a realtor truly makes and what a realtor gets on the settlement statement. And so then that propels them into real estate as well. I think home building is going to continue to be a significant part of Central Ohio's economy. If you guys haven't yet, I think it may be in my group coaching. My coach is a gentleman that interviewed Jason Abrams, and if you haven't heard Jason Abrams, he's kind of like the visionary for Keller Williams right now. And so if you Google Jason Abrams, he does a lot of like industry forecasts and things like that. in a video that I saw he did, he said that the building index right now is at 96%, which is the highest that it's ever been. That takes into account builders, that takes into account contractors. Everything that goes into building a home is at 96%, which is the highest that it's ever been. And I want you guys to understand the history behind that. So we went to 2000, and this goes back 10, 15 years. So 2008, 2009 happened, right? And building stopped. No builder wanted to invest any capital. No one was going to build a home. No one wanted anything to do with home building. So we were averaging probably close to 1 million new builds a year throughout the whole country. And then it fell down all the way to about 300,000 to 400,000. So well over half of new builds were taking place. So then if you watch my hand here, and it's a graph. So from 2008 all the way till now, we've continued to do this and this and this and this and this. And last year was the first year we reached close to 1 million again, right? The interesting thing about that is we've continued to make people. So the demand for housing has continued to increase. However, the infrastructure has now just got to that point where it previously was. And so then if you're kind of looking at my hand as a graph here, there's all this space from where we are now to where we have been, which is a gap. So 2009, we had 700,000. Then 2010, let's say we had 600,000 that we had to make up. Then 2011, we had 500,000 that we had to make up. And then when you add all those years together, we have a significant shortage of houses that goes back 10 years. And there's just not enough infrastructure, which is driving up home values for resale, which is driving up contractor prices, which is driving up new build prices. And it's all about supply and demand. And that's where the lack of supply, I feel, has come from. It's the history from 2008 all the way till now.
And just, I don't know if we're going to see this or not, but I can remember when the market was really, really high before 8. I cannot tell you how many real estate attorneys I knew that went into real estate for the very same reason you just stated.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, mortgage lenders, right? They're getting into real estate because they make more per transaction than they did on a mortgage,
yeah.
Right? So I it's going to be competitive going forward with real estate agents. Courtney, do you have a question?
So coming from the service industry, as one of those people who left the service industry during COVID, I wouldn't have never had time to pursue a career in real estate. It's something I've been thinking about for years, but being laid off gave me nothing but time. And I think that is something for a lot of people that have been stuck in the service industry. I know many, many people that are not only going into real estate, but so many other career paths, going back to school, doing other types of things, because the service industry sort of sucks you in for a while and the hours are weird. And now that there's so many bars and restaurants that haven't reopened or will never reopen, and there are so few jobs in the service industry, people are kind of having that opportunity to figure something else out.
It's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm very similar. My hand was forced getting into real estate, and Deidre knows this story very well. I was actually fired from my position. So I left Worthington Industries. They wanted to move me to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I was engaged with my wife at the time, and she had a career in medical equipment sales. And so she would have to leave her career in order for us to take this opportunity up in Milwaukee. And it wasn't something that we were willing to take on. So that's when the whole kind of process in my head started to kind of happen about what's my true value within this corporation, because I turned down the position, and next thing you know, I'm like last in line for the next promotion because they want to put that pressure on their sales agents to go take that position. And so I left Worthington Industries and went to work for another corporation processing aluminum. And I got laid off / fired from that position because my boss didn't see eye to eye with management. So then they fired him. And then 2 weeks later, they fired his entire team. So I'm stuck here. And this is the first year that my wife and I were married. And I remember looking at her like it was yesterday. hey, guess what, honey? I just hung up the phone. I just got fired. Now what? And my hand was forced to get into real estate. So Courtney, to your point, there are a lot of people that I have conversations with who do have jobs currently. And I say, you're a better person than I am because I never had the guts to explore real estate without getting fired or laid off, without having my hand forced. And so those are conversations that I'm having with people. And I think it's a unique opportunity in a lot of ways because you can look at a failure, like getting fired or getting laid off, as a failure, right? But if I look back at getting fired from the position that I was in 2012, it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me because I wouldn't have this business. I wouldn't be able to impact other people's lives. I wouldn't be able to, if it's 3:00 and I want to take my kids to the zoo on a Thursday, I'm going to time block for 3:00 to take my kids. Don't get me wrong. I have to work on the weekends and things like that. But the best part about it is I have complete control over my schedule. And if my schedule is too busy, then there's only one person I have to blame, and that's myself for taking on too much. So I'll say this, real estate is busy. Real estate takes a lot of time, but you ultimately have the complete control over what your schedule looks like from a time standpoint. So thanks for sharing that, Courtney. I know it took me a while to be okay with the failure of getting fired. And I think when I started to be okay with that, that's when my business really started to take off.
I think I'm okay with that. And I think that hopefully in a few years, I will find out that it has worked out for the best.
I'm sure it will. I know it will. What else, guys? Any questions about me, my business, thoughts about real estate, concerns about real estate? What are some of your biggest concerns about real estate?
Well, what would you say? I mean, for me, my story. Like I panic, I doubt myself, and then you hear all these. We're going through this presentation, and then we talk about 15% of people right now are going to go through it, family members or whatever, and then we talked about the influx of agents that you anticipate coming into the market. For somebody that's new or still a little unsure, what would you say to them? What can they do to stay on course, to keep that confidence level up? Is there anything that you would recommend doing?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I struggle with this currently. And I'll say that the one thing that you can do is be consistent. It's just understand that there is going to be challenges. There is going to be hiccups. There is going to be, it's inevitable, right? But just stay consistent and trust the process because eventually it will work out. We live in a world of instant gratification. We live in a world where we're always on our smartphones. We're always scrolling through Instagram and Facebook, and we're looking for the next thing, and the dopamine in our chemical in our brains is getting released all the time, right? We're always looking for the next best thing. And we want it to happen immediately. It doesn't work that way. It truly doesn't work that way. So perfect example, 2013, my first year of real estate, I sold 3 units. And I interviewed with a title company to take a sales role with a title company because I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. My second year, I sold, I think it was close to 18, maybe units, something like that. Third year was right around that same number, somewhere in the 20s. Then year 4 was kind of flirting with 30 to 40. But like if I'm going back and looking at it, like that first year when I'm selling 3 units, I'm thinking to myself, number one, who the hell did my wife marry? Because I'm brand new into this relationship and I come from Worthington Industries sales where you're classified as somewhat successful, you're classified, whatever that means. And then next thing you know, I don't even have a job and I'm selling 3 homes a year. And so I had a lot of doubt about myself and who I was and what I was providing to others. And I changed, I did a lot of different things. I tried different things. And if I'm looking back at it, it's just consistency. And it's telling people that you're a real estate agent. And it's generally caring about people. It's anytime you see a birthday on Facebook, don't comment on the Facebook birthday. Pick up the damn phone and call them, right? And then learn ways to manipulate conversations into real estate. So perfect example is always ask someone, hey, how's work going? Because their next question after you get done talking about their job is how's real estate? And when you can talk about real estate, you're bridging the wires in their brain to understand that whenever there's a conversation about real estate, you're the person that they talk to. So try and get every conversation into real estate. And don't be scared to approach people. Don't think that you're not qualified to sell their home. Because these are all objections that I had in my own brain. So I hope that helps, Deidre. I would just say, just be consistent and continue to grow your database. It's challenging, I get it, and it feels awkward and it feels uncomfortable, but it generally is the best way to wealth in real estate, is through other people, and expand your database as large as you possibly can.
No, that does help. I know I can't be the only one that feels this way. So, I wanted to make sure that I brought that up in case there was anybody else that felt that way.
Yep.
To know that as a group, we can talk about it, we can discuss it, and we can ask questions and kind of get that support from each other. So I appreciate you answering that. I think
It's scary.
I mean, it's very scary.
I was scared. I was scared shitless when I got into real estate. I didn't know how to sell a home. I didn't know what it meant to put people. Am I supposed to put someone in the backseat of my car, or am I supposed to meet him at the property? Like, I don't know. I've never done this before. These are all questions that I had as an individual, but you don't know until you try. You don't fail until you try. You don't learn until you fail. I mean, there's a rhythm to it. Keep failing. Keep messing up. Because guess what?
A couple things I always think about too, and I mean this as an encouragement, not a discouragement, but of all the people that really enter real estate, 80% of them are out in the first year. And the fact that we're all in this class and we're learning from each other and we're learning from Taylor, and you took the time to put that on your schedule, that helps set us apart from people that are not committed to that.
Yep. Love it. And I'm not, and you guys know this, I'm not the only one in the market center that cares about other agents and cares about people in the market center. And I mean this genuinely. Do not feel like, number one, there's a dumb question. Number two, I don't have the time to help other people. Because I've got to where I am because of the Brian Kemps, the Sue Luskaliches, the Jeff Mahlers, everyone in that market center. I've got to where I am because I owe them something. And so the best way for me to help is to make sure that I'm available for other people. So my door is always open. If anyone wants to throw me a text message or chat or whatever, I'm open to sharing my contact information with everyone. In my office, when I do get back there, which I hope will be soon, is on the second floor on the 270 side of the building, just past the bathrooms up there. But what else? Anything else you guys want to pick my brain about? I would say just be yourself and be consistent with it. Create a routine. I think I've learned this about myself too. Like, if it's not working out, or if it's not setting aside time for family, if it's not whatever, create a routine. So like when you wake up in the morning, do something every single day, every single day, every single day, because when it becomes habit, that's when you know it's going to get checked off the list. So if it's not like, we have, our CRM, right? Like, first thing I do every day is call every new lead I got overnight. Next thing I do is call every single priority lead we received. Those are just the first two things I do every single day, and I know that it's done, right? So it's going to be a different routine for everyone, but I would say create a routine. And this goes into, like, for me, it's working out, right? Like, every week I have to go through and time block when is going to be like that hour that I work out. Because if I don't, guess what? Someone's going to say, hey, you want to grab lunch? And then the place where I put it is the area that I didn't time block for working out. So be disciplined with your time and do the most important activities first. Melody, which coffee shop are you at?
Oh, that's a, you see my barista hasn't moved the entire time, standing back there. So
I
it's
love that
just the
virtual
background.
background. Yeah.
So many people have said, oh my God, I love your kitchen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love that to be my kitchen too.
Joanna Gaines, straight from Joanna Gaines.
Yeah, there you go.
Anything else you guys have? And if you think of something later, here, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me, can you guys see the chat box? There you go. Feel free to keep it in your phone. It's available for you guys anytime you need it. I would say texting is probably the fastest way to get a hold of me. Is
I'm not seeing it.
anyone else seeing it? Is it me or them? Oh, that's a direct message. Excuse me. I sent a direct message to the front desk. Everyone, here we go. Got it?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you for choosing Keller Williams Capital Partners. Thanks for coming back to Keller Williams Capital Partners. It'll be great to see your faces in the office once we kind of get back to a somewhat of a normalcy, and I certainly look forward to getting to know each and every one of you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor.
All right, guys, have a good day. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see you.